Hey guys, and welcome back to the show. I appreciate everybody joining in with us today. I know it's been a couple of weeks since I produced my last Bitcoin and/or blockchain related video, but it's been mainly due to the fact that I have had zero access to internet, which is what I want to talk to you about today. Now, some of you might be saying, "Well, how can you have zero access to internet? What about cell phone towers and mobile hotspots?" Well, I definitely want to get into all of that with you today, but before we do, make sure you hit up the like button and the subscribe and check out this word from our sponsors.
Bitcoin mining, Bitcoin wallet, blockchain, stablecoins, MetaNet, the evolution of money. Everybody is talking about Bitcoin today, but what exactly is it? Learn the basics from experts. Learn what Bitcoin is, how it works, and why it matters. Bitcoin 101, your ultimate guide to the fundamentals of blockchain.
All right, so guys, basically, Starlink. It has been a game changer. Like I said, we got a house and we moved out to a rural part of Georgia on the eastern side of the United States. And as I said previously, we have zero access to internet out here. Well, I retract that statement. We do have access to internet, but it's through a satellite provider company called HughesNet. And if anybody has ever had the misfortune of having to utilize HughesNet, you might feel my pain. But with that being said, Starlink has been here to save the day. Now, over here on the Starlink website, I want to show you guys real quick. If you've ever been over here and you thought, oh, well, I have zero access to internet, or maybe I could get better access to internet than what I have right now. You may have gone over here to the website, input your address, and perhaps seen this horrible, horrible picture of, well, if it'll go. There we are. Sorry about that. You may have seen this horrible picture of the eastern United States or somewhere else in the world that shows that basically you may have been waitlisted. Now, if you were to mouse over the blue part of the United States right there, you will see that it says that they're expanding service coverage in 2023. And if you were to input your or my address, particularly if you were to input my address right here, it would say, hey, the earliest that we can get anything out to you is 2023. And by 2023, I mean like the middle of 2023. So a year is a pretty long time to wait for just basic access to internet, which is a really crappy thing. But Elon Musk and the Starlink peoples and the company whatnot, they are working diligently to expand access to internet in very remote places. So big props to Elon Musk for making all of this happen. That being said, guys, you may be wondering to yourself, well, Brittany, if you are waitlisted, how are you on Starlink right now? And you'd be right to ask that. And it's very, very simple. They also offer not only a residential, a business, but they also offer a Starlink for RVs service. Now, the Starlink for RV service is basically the same service as the residential service, the main difference being that you can bring Starlink with you wherever you want, which I think is a pretty cool gosh darn feature, right? So before we get into that, I really want to quickly say the initial costs for Starlink are pretty hefty. I think with shipping and handling and taxes, my bill was right around $700 for the initial startup costs, and that does not include the first month's payment of $135. So the main difference between residential and RV services is that residential services are $110 a month, whereas Starlink RV is $135. So it's a little bit more, but you get a little bit more added benefits. Like I said, with Starlink RV, you can bring it with you wherever. So if you're part of this crazy new movement of people who are living out of their vans or renovating buses and whatnot, and you're traveling all over, or you live in a camper, or you generally travel around in RVs, this is a great service for you. one of the things that I really like about it is that Starlink has an app which I utilize on my phone all the time, and in that app I can go in there and choose to stow our Starlink away. I can just click a button and boom, service is disconnected, and I can just choose to pick it back up and begin paying on it again whenever. So if, like, for instance, right, you have an RV and you travel in the RV with your family during the summer times while the kids are out of school and you want basic access to internet, this is a really cool feature because you can basically have internet access and be paying for internet access while you're traveling around in the RV. But at the end of the summer, you can say, hey, I don't want to pay for this right now, stow it away and wait till the next summer. I think that's really, really cool because, you know, a lot of people in campers or RVs that travel around and go to like campsites and whatnot, oftentimes they're either close enough to a tower and you can get okay access, or you're a little bit far away from a cell phone tower and access to internet from like a mobile perspective is pretty shoddy. And by that I mean, like, even if you're at a campsite with your RV, you may not be getting good internet access simply because everybody else at the campsite is also using that cell phone tower as well. And so that can be a bit problematic in and of itself. But this is a great option. And for me, I did order Starlink RV. And it was delivered. I ordered it, like, say, on a Friday, and then I received it the following Thursday. So they shipped it out pretty quickly. It did come from someplace in Southern California, and like I said, it took about a week for it to get here. So I was pretty impressed with shipping time and whatnot. It was a cool experience. I was just like waiting with bated breath the entire time. Like, oh, let me watch the tracking. Oh, it's going to be here tomorrow. It's going to be here tomorrow. And guys, I can tell you that when it arrived, I do have an unboxing video, but it's not your standard and or typical unboxing video. It was an unboxing video of excitement and joy. And by that, I mean, when it got here, I took it off my front porch, I brought it into my bedroom, and I began unboxing everything. And then I was like, oh wait, I wanted to do an unboxing video. So just for your viewing pleasure, for those that may or may not be interested, I'm going to show you a little clip of what that all looked like while I was just so excited. Because like I said, I was literally just like, oh man, I'm so excited. Let's unbox this. I can't believe we're going to have internet. Can't wait to try it out. And this is what that looked like. So Starlink arrived today. This is the box she came in. It is a behemoth of a box. But this is what it came in. And when I mean big box, it's a big box. Everything comes nice and neatly packaged up in here. This is the modem. So we got that going. And then, like some other pieces. Right. And then here we've got the satellite and the mount. So I'll get this set up. Whoops. And I'll be back to show some upload and download speeds. Yeah. So again, sorry, not your standard typical, like, here's me unboxing the video, size comparisons and whatnot. No, that was me ripping apart the box and getting everything out on the floor ready to somewhat assemble, I suppose you could say, and then me thinking, oh crap, I forgot, I need to do an unboxing video. So it was kind of rushed, kind of forced, but I was so excited to just literally get it going. That being said, the unpacking is basically what you just saw. I literally just took everything out of the box and put it on the floor and was like, okay, what next? But the setup process is super, super simple. I mean, they've dumb-proofed it for sure. They've already got everything set up to the point where everything's plugged up together. I think I did have to like reattach the one of the cords into the modem, and that was it. And then you just plug it into the wall, and then run the long cord and the satellite outside. And I simply just dropped mine on the ground outside my front house and called it a day. And I was like, show me the internet, baby, show me the internet. Because like I said, guys, when you go without internet for a couple of weeks, you really don't realize like just how crazy it is to not have internet. But I want to show you the modem real quick. Here's a video of that. As far as everything else goes, you get this pretty cool little modem right here. It doesn't light up at the top. It does and have a light on the bottom to indicate that it is working and on. But other than that, nothing. So yeah, it's just plugged up. Excuse the mess. It's just plugged up, and yeah, it's outside working. So let's see some upload and download speeds currently. Yeah, so I mean, pretty basic stuff. I like I said, I literally just plugged it into the wall, the power plug into the wall, ran the long cord with the satellite outside, and I placed it on the ground. Now, Starlink does have a Starlink application that you can download on your phone that does a couple of different things, and namely one of those things is you can do speed test runs and whatnot, but what happens is after you plug it in and you run the satellite outside, the satellite will sit on the ground, and it will, like, the head will swivel into position to find the best satellite signal. I watched mine basically go from like this position, and it just went boop, and every time I bring I bring it inside and outside every day to make sure that it doesn't get stolen. We basically just leave it up and running during the day and bring it back in at night. But it's gotten to the point where I kind of know which of the satellites or the general direction of the satellites that Starlink wants to receive information from. So I just bring it out there and I kind of go ahead and point it in that general direction that it likes to view. So it's funny, you kind of get used to that type of thing. But like I was saying, the Starlink app, you can see it right here, Starlink app. It's pretty cool. So you plug it in, and then after you plug it in, you open up the Starlink app. It'll tell you to connect to Starlink on your Wi-Fi. And so you go to your settings, go to your Wi-Fi, and you click Starlink. And then after you do that, it'll say that it's connected, and you go back to your Starlink application, and it'll talk you through the rest of the startup process, which is basically just naming the Wi-Fi, giving it a password, and then boom, it'll say, hey, you're online. It took about 3 minutes, I would say, for the first time that I brought it out and set it up for it to connect and say that it was online. So the setup process is super, super quick, and you're like, boom, on your way, on your way. I mean, and it has like settings and like the devices and whatnot. And one of the other cool features that the Starlink app has is that you can also decide where you're going to place it. So before Starlink even got here, like after I ordered it, I took the application and my phone outside, and I opened up the little like mini game that it has in there. It's not a game, but that's what I'm calling it. To figure out where would be the best place to place the satellite. And so you open up the app outside, and then it'll say, hey, you know, like pointed at the sky all over the place, and there's these little dots up on the sky, and you basically got to collect all the little dots with your phone, and it'll either tell you, hey, this is a great place to put it, or hey, no, visibility is not so great. Now, one thing about the visibility that I can say is that if you're in a heavily wooded area, it's probably not such a great idea. You really need a clear view of the sky. I thought maybe I'd be able to like run the wire and the satellite into my backyard, where it might be a little bit more safe, a little bit more secure, and do it that way. And when I did the little test back in my backyard, it was like, hey, visibility back here is not so great. Maybe find a different place for it. And so I did the test in my front yard because I have very little tree coverage in my front yard, and it said, hey, this is a great spot. Go ahead and place it here. So that's what I did. When I got it, I just ran it outside and put it on my sidewalk, as you guys saw. So really, really simple setup process. Next thing I guess I could say here is that they do try to nickel and dime you for accessories. So once you've established your account, you've created your account, you've got Starlink on the way, and you're paying your monthly bill, you do get access to the Starlink store. which offers a couple of different accessories, namely being the Starlink that is on the screen right now is version 2 or Model 2, whichever you want to call it, and it is the rectangular disc satellite. The version 1 was a circle disc satellite. Now, as far as I know, version 1 came with a Ethernet adapter so that you could hardline your internet from your computer into the adapter. But the version 2 model does not have that. And so in order to hardline your computer into your Starlink, you have to purchase an adapter. And I think the adapter is only like $25, so big deal, right? Not a huge thing. And then, of course, they offer a bunch of different options for the mounting of the device for like long-term usage. You can buy a pole that sits in your ground, like a huge pole, and Starlink just sits on top of the pole. It gets put in there somehow, and boom, that's it. You're done. A lot of other like satellite providers often do this. You might see that quite often with like Dish Network users getting the pole and putting the dish on there. And then they also have like L brackets that you can screw into the side of your house for Starlink to sit on. I'm actually going to be purchasing a flash mount for the roof and a pivot mount to go on the flash mount so that I can safely attach Starlink into the pivot mount onto the flashing mount and safely install it onto my roof. So I am waiting on that to get here. I also believe that I might get a little bit better signal once it's on the roof versus being straight on the ground. Some of the other options that you can purchase on the Starlink store are things like additional modems and whatnot. I think additional modems are like $130, 120, 130, something like that. It's not that bad, but what I can say about like Wi-Fi connectivity in the house is that I have a 2-story home, and right now I'm in the basement. And even though I am getting Wi-Fi signal from the modem that is directly above me, I do sometimes get a little bit more shoddy service, being that I'm in the basement and there's, all this stuff for the signals to try to go through. So if I wanted to boost that Wi-Fi signal, I would have to purchase more modems to go throughout the house to increase that signal strength. Not a big deal. I mean, it sucks, but it's there. And of course, they also offer, like cables and all this other stuff because you have to use the cables that are directly from Starlink. So, like I said, there's a bunch of different things that can be done there. But my experience so far has been very, very pleasant. As I said at the beginning of the video, the only internet service provider that is in my area is a company called HughesNet. And HughesNet charges you about $150 a month for like 250 gigabytes per month of internet service. Now, for comparison, 1 hour or like one episode of streaming on Netflix is about like 1 gigabyte of data, give or take. I mean, it also depends on like the quality of the image that you're downloading and whatnot. So I'm not going to say like, hey, this is an end all be all, but roughly 1 hour to 1 gig type of ratio there. So you can imagine 250 gigs for 1 month. It does not get you a very long way if you're consistently streaming Netflix or Hulu and have a kid or two that's playing clicky games on their tablets or devices, and you're sitting there on your phone scrolling through TikTok or Instagram, whatever. It's not going to get you very far. Our next door neighbors have HughesNet, and they're constantly, saying, hey, we had internet for about a week, and then the other 3 weeks out of the month, we don't have anything. And I feel for them. I really do. But I was like, no, I can't even do it. And then, of course, HughesNet also locks you into a service agreement. So you have to continuously keep paying for them, even when you're like, I don't want this crappy service anymore. Like, please make it stop. So they do the service agreements, and that's like a sucky feature to have, right? With Starlink, there's no contract, there's no service agreement, there's no contract. So I can literally just have it and decide I'm not going to pay for it, and then decide I am going to pay for it, and you get a pick. Like, everybody likes to decide, like, what happens if one month, you know, like, hey, I'm low on funds, or I have an unexpected bill, you know, or my car crapped the bed on me and I can't afford Starlink this month. Well, just turn it off for the month, and the next month, boom, you can turn it back on. I like that feature. I'm not saying that I'm turning it off or anything, but you never know with the way today's world is, right? The added benefit of the Starlink RV is also, like I said, that you can take it anywhere. So I really, really like those options. Now, to get into more technical discussion about uploads and download speeds, I can go ahead and show you right here. Test it out real quick. All right, yes, it says that it is online right now. And we can do a quick speed test. It's not bad. I'd like to point out too, as you can see right here, it does say that we are on the Starlink RV Limited. But 35 megabytes per second upload speed is amazing compared to what we have been working with, which is roughly no internet. So, hey, I'll take it. We could do a more advanced speed test here. See what we get. Hey. Not bad. Yeah, I'll definitely take that. What's our upload speed? 4, 3. Ugh. Well. Now, in previous runs of tests, right, we've gotten as high as 10 megabytes per second upload speed, and as low as 20 or so megabyte download speed. So, you know, I will still take it over having access to no internet. Yeah, it's pretty darn good. Nice. And just real quick for comparison, I can show you the speed test here by Ookla. Go. Yeah. Nice. Ooh. Upload speed, again, not so great, but better than having none. I'm getting about, typically speaking, 30 megabytes per second download speed at any given moment throughout the day, and then anywhere between 2 to 9 upload speeds. Now, it varies pretty greatly. The other thing that I really want to point out too is that the Starlink RV services is limited for the waitlisted areas, so that, you know, if you are in a waitlisted area and you order Starlink and then you set Starlink up at your home inside of a waitlisted area, you're gonna see diminished like speeds in comparison to people, say, not in a waitlisted area. So you're limited. Now, they do promise to do their best to make sure that you have access to internet. And so far, I've experienced very, very, very little problems, if any, in connectivity services. What I can say for this is, number one, like I said, the RV service is going to have diminished speeds in waitlisted areas, but they do their best to have that connectivity for you. I had set the bar very, very low with my expectations for Starlink, namely due to the fact that prior to having purchased Starlink and setting it up, I had tried a numerous amount of different options. The first one being mobile hotspots, and then coming to find out that we live fairly far away from the closest cell phone tower, so that sucked. So we tried like NetHawk and, like all these other things. And then, of course, I went to, I believe it was T-Mobile, and was like, hey, let me get a hotspot. Tried that. No, nothing. Like I should have been wiser, because I only get one bar to begin with, like out here. So I don't know why I thought the mobile hotspot was going to work. I was just like, praying to the internet gods that it would. It did not. And then I tried another service called like Nomad Internet. My experience with it was not so great. Again, it goes off cell phone towers, and I don't know. I was just like, please God, work, I guess. But it did not. Now, I'm not trying to speak bad about Nomad. I'm just saying, like, if you're far away from a cell phone tower, probably not the best route to go. But it could be something that works for people in other areas. My experience with it was not great. So yeah, I tried like a bunch of different things. Nomad wasn't the only thing. But I just got really tired of investing all this money into all of these other services, companies, and products, and then seeing no results. So when I ordered Starlink, I was optimistic, but I was like hopefully optimistic. Like, I just hope that it works and that I'm able to browse the internet and maybe watch like TikTok or Instagram while I'm laying in bed. Like, is that too much to ask for? I don't think so. But yeah, first day of setting it up, all three of my kids grabbed their Switches and they all wanted to play Fortnite. And I'll be honest when I say I did not believe that it was going to work. I really didn't. But all three of them grabbed their Switches, and because we had been without internet for a couple of months, they all had to, download a bunch of updates and whatnot. All three of their Switches downloaded the updates with zero problems, and then all three of them were able to get on Fortnite and play together seamlessly and without lag, which I thought was just like, holy crap, are you kidding me? Like, this is amazing. Now, the thing with like other satellite providers like HughesNet is like, there's something about HughesNet and Starlink and the way that they position their satellites into orbit. Because what I've heard is that Starlink actually positions their satellites in orbit like way lower than like other satellite service providers. And so that decreases the latency between the amount of time that it takes for data to travel from the receiver to like, the satellite in order. So there's that, because with HughesNet, gaming of any kind other than like maybe Haste Arcade gaming, if you guys know what that is, like playing Haste Arcade games, it's not like super data intensive with the internet in regards to the internet. So you could probably play a game like that, but even that, I would say probably runs into some issues. So like playing first person shooters or, something like World of Warcraft or any, League of League or anything like that. No, it's not happening. So my husband was really upset he couldn't play his Overwatch. So that's aside from the point. But yeah, it's totally impossible to do on HughesNet because of the latency. So super, super shocking, to see that all three of my kids were playing Fortnite together with zero lag. Just thought that was super, super amazing. So, yeah, that has been my experience with it thus far. Really have nothing bad to say about it. Like I said, biggest things here is if you're going to order Starlink, like it needs to be kind of a necessity, or like you can see yourself using Starlink RV for Starlink RV purposes, like I'm actually going to be traveling around in an RV, that sort of thing. Would I choose Starlink over fiber optics or whatever, like high speed internet from a major service provider like AT&T if that were available in my area? Probably not. I'd probably go with AT&T, just because main thing here is that it has been raining a lot in Georgia, and so this Starlink is a satellite provider company, and so you're going to get the same problems that other satellite provider companies have, which namely is like if it's raining super hard, chances are you don't have internet. Now, I will give it this though, right? Like if it's not raining super hard, like it's just sprinkling or it's just coming down at a good pace, like you're probably going to have internet. It may stop and buffer for a second, but then go back to playing. And you might experience that, like, a couple of times every, 10 minutes or whatever, but it's not so bad to the point where you're like, oh, you know what I'm saying? Now, if the rain's coming down so hard that you got thunder and lightning and the rain's raining sideways, chances are good that you don't have any access to internet. And when you open up your Starlink app, it's going to say offline. But the cool thing about that app is it'll tell you that it's online or offline or looking for service or whatever. Like, you can literally keep up to date with everything through the Starlink app. And I just think the way that they not only treat their customers, but their service and the expectations, like, totally overall great product. And like I said previously, Elon Musk is working to not only increase coverage, but increase the amount of data that they are pushing through and trying to provide their customers. So again, huge props to Elon for making this possible and getting me internet access out here, because holy cow, even today, this would not be possible without him. So thank you again. Guys, but I do think that's going to wrap it up for today. I appreciate everybody joining in. What do you think about Starlink? Do you have it? What's been your experience with it so far? Was there anything that I missed that you think I should have covered? Or, generally, what are your thoughts on the video? Make sure to leave me a comment down below. And I guess with that being said, it's going to wrap it up for today. Thanks for joining in again, and we'll see you next time. Bye-bye.
Bitcoin mining, Bitcoin wallet, blockchain, stablecoins, Metanet, the evolution of money. Everybody is talking about Bitcoin today. But what exactly is it? Learn the basics from experts. Learn what Bitcoin is, how it works, and why it matters. Bitcoin 101, your ultimate guide to the fundamentals of blockchain.
Thank you for watching. Please make sure to like the video, subscribe to our channel, and leave a comment below. Share this video with a friend, and also follow us on Twitter at BrittanyBits.